Today we have the pleasure of bringing you Bonterra Resources. Bonterra is a late-stage gold exploration company with 2.1 million ounces of defined amongst three 100% owned high-grade underground deposits within the Abitibi Greenstone Belt in Canada, in Quebec. They also control the only permitted mill in the region. BTR is fully funded for its 55,000 meter fall 2020 drilling program. One of the best quotes from their website is they have one of the highest grade gold development projects in Canada. And here to tell us more about that and give us an update is CEO Pascal Hamelin. Welcome, Pascal. Feel free to start your presentation whenever, and we'll take questions from our viewers afterwards. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I like the golf course behind you. So I'll start, I'll share my screen. So Bonterra, yes. So like Paul mentioned, we're an exploration company in Gold Camp, in the Urban Berry Gold Camp. Our corporate office is in Val-d'Or, and the three projects are in the Abitibi Greenstone Belt. So there will be some forward-looking statement in this presentation, and all the amounts are in Canadian dollars. So the highlights, we're in the Urban Berry Windfall Camp. We got 2.1 million ounces of gold already in 43-101 that were published in 2019. We have three flag projects: Gladiator, Mulroy, and Barry. We have over 38,000 hectares of land underexplored, with many regional targets and deposit to discover. And we just mentioned one, we just released one this morning, just north of the, just in the north range of the Urban Berry Belt. It's a small vein that we discovered on surface, and we're gonna do some drilling. We have a mill, a permanent mill for 800 tons a day. That mill, we began the permitting process to expand it to 2,400 tons a day. We already completed the environmental impact study. We submitted it to the Ministry of Environment, and we're in the Q&A phase for that permit. We're in Quebec, head office in Val-d'Or, which had helped during the pandemic lockdown, and I'll go a little bit more about this in a few seconds. We began a 35,000 meter campaign this winter that was interrupted by the COVID. April, May, June, we worked from remote, from home, like many of you. And then we got our health and safety protocol for COVID to be that were approved by the Public Health and the Cree Nation government late June. We resumed the drilling in July, and right now we're in the middle of a 56,000 meter drill campaign on our three projects and on regional targets. Value, we're sitting at around $40 an ounce, which is significant discounts to the peers. Again, we're in Quebec, access to an excellent workforce from the Val-d'Or camp, Rouyn-Noranda camp, and also Chibougamau camp. Market cap, 78 million. Close to a little bit less than 100 million market cap. We have 78 million shares outstanding. The capital structure, we got about 52% of our shareholder base is held by a few funds. The one to mention, the largest one, are Kirkland Lake Gold and Wexford Capital. The more recent partners are Caisse de Dépôt. We joined the board, joined the shareholder base in August 2019, and Roofer joined the company in spring 2020. The board of directors, there's been some changes in the spring. some people left the board to join other company. And then we thought it was very important that we increase our presence from Quebec. So we got 2 new directors who are from Quebec. We now have half of the board who are from Quebec. Matthew Apijak is from the Cree Nation of Waswanipi, but lives here in Val d'Or. He's the president of Air Quebec Regional Airline. Of the 6 directors, 4 are independent. Peter O'Malley, Normand, Matthew, and Jean. Akiba and Caesar are non-independents because they're also consulting for Wexford Capital. Where are the projects? We're in the Abitibi Greenstone Belt in a younger region. I say younger because the infrastructure for the prospector and the explorer to go are more recent. So the Urban Berry Camp is, there's not as much drilling done there as, for example, the Cadillac Fault around Val d'Or and Rwanda. Our 3 projects, we have, I hope you see my cursor on the screen, but on the south, we have Barry and Gladiator. And to the north, we have the Bachelor Mill and the Morroy project. Bachelor Mill and Morroy are on the power grid, so it helps with the cost and the logistics. Barry and Gladiator are accessible year-round through gravel road, which are maintained by us and Cisco. We share the cost for the logistics or for that camp. Our resource, which were published in 2019, we got 700,000 ounces of measured indicated resource, and we have 1.4 million ounces in the inferred category between the 3 projects. You see the bulk of the ounces, a lot of the ounces are from Gladiator. About half of the ounces come from there at a grade of, say, 8.5. What's interesting is that 2.1 million ounces were discovered with about 400,000 meters drilled so far, which our discovery rate is about 5 ounces per meter, and the cost is close to $20. The Bachelor Mill now, it's strategically located in the center of the belt. It's the only mill in the area. So a lot of these small deposit, there's possibility for partnership or M&A just because of the nature of the camp. You got some deposits that are already in 43-101, such as ours, Windfall. You got to the east, you got Nelligan and Monster Lake within trucking distance to the Bachelor Mill. Now we move to the projects. Gladiator, just south of Windfall. It's got, for facilities, it's got everything for exploration. So road access, core logging facility, and camp for the workers. Everything is functioning, and presently we have 2 drills at the site, drilling 16,000 meters. We have 1 drill on the barge, just drilling this is a longitudinal. So we have 1 drill on the water drilling this section here, and we have another drill on land. Target, this is a section view. So 1 drill on the water is drilling this area here. And we have 1 drill on land drilling the north structure, which is inside a shear zone. Also, later this fall and this winter, beside Gladiator, we're going to be testing the corridor, the shear corridor, where there's other anomaly where there's potential deposit to discover. And it's to note that there's a big play there. It's 12 kilometers, and Gladiator is only 1.8 kilometers along that strike. As far as timeline goes, The next few months, it's going to be drilling at Gladiator. We're going to continue in 2021. We want to do a resource update, so to eventually publish a PEA. Parallel to that, we began the permitting process last year in 2019 to develop a decline. The reason for that is to go underground and do the exploration drilling at a tighter spacing, so we can take some inferred ounces and move them into the indicated category. Now we move to the Barry project. The Barry project is about 10 kilometers west of the Gladiator deposit, but on a separate faults, different shear zone. Barry and Windfall are in the Messiah fault system, and they're both associated with that fault. Barry's got all his permit. It's has a mining lease already, just because of previous operation. There was an open pit mine at Barry between 2008 and 2010. And when Bonterra acquired Metanor, Bonterra got all the permit for extraction. Actually, Barry has the permit to extract 1.2 million tons and to ship it to a mill. So the plan now for Barry is to eventually ship it to the Bachelor mill. This is a longitudinal, same thing as Gladiator, narrow vein subvertical structure, high grade. It's open at depth and along strike. This fall, we're focusing on the west end of the Barry deposit. But this winter, we're going to be moving to the east end, just because on the west end, there's a lake. And on the east end, it's more wetland. So it's better to drill there in the winter. Some of the results from 2019 and this winter campaign, it shows that we're hitting outside the 43-101. Over here, it doesn't say that there's no gold. It's just it indicates that the drill spacing is too wide to have inferred ounces. So we need to put a tighter spacing in this sector here in order to get inferred resources. Last week, the press release, all the results were over on the east end, over this side. 2018-19, what Bonterra did is we drove a decline to drill from underground at a tighter spacing. So we already did that. We confirmed, we validate the geology model. So the next phase for Barry will be to develop in the mineralized structure and ship it to the Bachelor mill for a bulk sample. While we drill the resource at Barry itself, we have targets that indicates that there's potential to grow. There was a drill hole drilled in 2014, but it was they were looking for open pit back then, so it was like over 1 gram over 70 meters. But really, it's a series of sub-vertical parallel structure, just like Barry. And the geophysics shows that there's a trend to follow. So that's why we're drilling under the lake this summer. And then next year, we're going to continue over on this end to see what the link is with this. Before that, we're going to drill the north end of this fall. We're going to drill, actually, we just moved a drill in that sector. Just to show you on the next map. This is the, in dashed black line is the Messiah fault. It's the same fault as what Cisco called the bank fault further north. So it's never been drilled right at the contact. So we just started last week. So we want to find out what the geology looks like at the contact of the fault, because the indicators are all there for something. Timeline, same thing as Gladiator. It's going to be resource drilling, and then resource update and a PEA. Barry, since it's permanent, the next phase for Barry after the PEA would be to do the bulk sample. Now we move to Mulroy. Mulroy is underneath, right about here on surface. It's underneath the tailings pond. It's about 1 kilometer south of the Bachelor mine. It's got all the infrastructure. It's on the power grid. So we're accessing Mulroy through the shaft of the Bachelor mine. On this picture, you see the to the left is the Bachelor shaft. It goes down 2,400 feet below surface. And on level 11, we drove an exploration drift all the way to Mulroy. And we're doing a bulk sample right now at the Mulroy in the Mulroy M1 zone. We're also drilling at Mulroy. We got 2 drills on surface, drilling M6, M2, and M1. But also we have a drill underground testing the junction between the old Bachelor in gray and the Mulroy in red. So we have a drill right now underground targeting this sector. This is a longitudinal looking north. So you see in red is the new interpretation. There's just an expansion of the green, which was the interpretation from 2019. So we're expanding it and we will continue with the drilling. And blue, what you see in blue is where we're doing the 10,000 ton bulk sample. There is regional drilling also. We have a drill set up at the Clone area. It's another intrusive similar to the O'Brien. The O'Brien intrusive is a cyanide intrusive, and it was the reason why the fluid and the gold went into the shears on each side of the intrusive. So we suspect there's probably the same thing over here. So that's why we're going to drill that this fall and this winter. Timeline, same thing as the other 2 projects, is resource extension. With that, we're going to do a resource update, the PEA, and then eventually after the PEA is going to be continuing the resource, another resource update, and eventually a feasibility. For the mill, to go from 800 to 2,400 tons a day, we need to upgrade the grinding circuit. So it's to remove the existing rod mill and ball mill and replace them with a SAG and a larger ball mill. So the investment are not significant. Everything's already there, the building, everything. So it's more the equipment and an extension to the east of the existing building. We submitted the environmental impact study in Q4 2019. We're in the Q&A phase right now. That's going to continue over the fall and the winter. And then we did some design already for the tailings and the mill. So it will be incorporated in the PEA. And then after that, we're going to continue the detailed permitting for an eventual construction. So to recap, we're in the middle of a 56,000 meter drill campaign, focusing on our 3 projects, all within trucking distance from the Bachelor mill. And we're also allocating resources to find the Fort deposit, because we believe there's a lot more to discover in this camp. So in this, Paul, I'll pass the mic to you for any questions the audience may have. Or Sophie.
Okay. It's okay, Pascal. Hi. So we do have a couple of questions. And if, okay, perfect. Let's start here at the beginning. Can you talk about past acquisitions such as Metanor?
Yeah, well, Metanor was acquired by Bonterra back in 2018. So Bonterra had the Gladiator deposit, and they had significant cash back in 2018. Metanor had the mill, the Barrie, and the Monroy project. So the merge occurred. The management of Bonterra left in 2019. They saw that the next phase of growth will be from promoting to, then you got to get serious getting technical people. So that's what happened. Technical people came in 2019. In the spring 2020, some members from Ontario left the board. One of them joined Kirkland Lake Gold, and the board felt it was the time to now get Quebecers on board, since the corporate office is here in Val-d'Or, and the 3 projects are in Quebec. So, and that's what we did in June, July.
Excellent. If you could touch a little bit on the terms of the warrants.
To be honest, there's some warrants, but they're not in the money now.
Okay.
So
and where
they're not.
Do you know where they are when they are in the money? What the strike price is?
I think it's over. I think they're at $2.
Okay.
Over $2.
Okay. So coming back to the mill, is the mill operational currently, or is it on care and maintenance?
It's operational right now. We're doing the bulk sample from Monroy. We started the mill in August. Actually, there was a press release a few weeks back, but we began the milling. Well, we put it on care and maintenance in September 2018. We called back mechanics and electrician in the summer 2020 to prepare the mill for process, and we began processing material from first the old bachelor mine. We had some material left, about 6,000 tons. So we're processing that, and then actually we're back at work today. There is still a little bit of bachelor to process, and then we're going to begin the bulk immediately after.
So talking about the bulk sample, how much money do you expect you're going to generate from that processing?
Well, that's the reason of a bulk, is we're not 100% sure on the grade, but probably about 3 million.
Okay. Which then we have a question here. Do you have enough money to do all the drilling, or do you need to do some more financing?
We have the money to complete the 2020 campaign. Okay. 2021, there will be, we have a plan in place. The board has to look at it, approve the plan, and then decide how it's going to be financed. So there will be, obviously, there will be a capital raise before the end of the year, but there's no urgency right now. Well,
that's good news. Is everything permitted, and are there any indigenous issues?
With Waswanipi, we have an excellent relation. We have an IBA signed since 2012. Actually, I was in the community 2 weeks ago. I think I was probably the first mining executive to go there in about 6-7 months.
Wow.
I was invited to attend the annual, they have twice a year, they have a community assembly with the chief, the deputy chief. And I was invited to give an update to the community. So it was held outside in a tent, big. Well, it's more like a circus tent. It was big. Mm-hmm. So social distancing was easy, but I tell you, it's very popular. There was probably over 300 people attending.
Wow, that's quite impressive.
And with Waswanipi, we have already established relation with the tally men, the trappers. Actually, the trappers at Gladiator and Windfall works for Bonterra. He's an excellent heavy equipment operator, so he works for us. And the other tally men, we're all consulting them every time we put new drill bay, you know, there's no surprise. And we always get their input.
Well, that's great to involve them and make them stakeholders as well.
Yeah. As far as permitting with the Ministry of Environment, they're all at different stage. Barrie is fully permitted because it's south of the 49 parallel. So it was not going through the same process. South of the 49, it goes through the BAP. But north of the 49, it goes to the COMEX for Northern Quebec. So Barrie is fully permitted, but it's not permitted to be processed. So I could ship that material to any mill for custom milling, but we have a mill. So we're not going to ship material to a mill in Val-d'Or when we have a mill in Desmarais-Ville.
Yeah.
So we're going through the permitting process to process the Barrie material over at the Bachelor Mill. That's part of that 2,400 tons a day mill expansion.
And do you, I think you might have mentioned it, but do you have a timeline on when you expect that permitting to be completed?
It's, well, we're a little bit at the mercy of the Ministry of Environment on this.
Yeah.
But you know, the process is pretty clear. They, I saw the questions. Actually, I have a meeting tomorrow with my people because we're ready to submit the answers of the first series of questions. There was no make or break on those questions. There was clarifying questions, you know, like for an example, they asked us to redo a count of the grass snake on the Bachelor Mill, which we did this summer. Okay, so, but nothing major, you know, it's not like the deposit are not asset generating, which is a big thing. And with tilling facility, the biggest worry that we have, the community has, is the stability of the dikes. We don't want to have anything like in Brazil or in BC. So this is all design. It's not impacting any community. So, you know, it's well on our way. So I you know, without putting a date, I think we could be in a good position to start like for the fall 2021.
Oh, excellent. Wow, that's good. I see Paul's joined us. Paul, do you have a couple of questions for Pascal?
Yeah, Pascal, you're doing maintenance. Well, you're expanding the mill right now to go to 2,400 tons per day.
The permitting.
Yeah, but have you already expanded like to 2,400? Like you can process 2,400? You have to get
no. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to do any physical work until you have the permit.
But you said you're going to be expanding, putting in new crushers and things of that nature.
Yeah, so we did the design, but it's not done yet. We're going to get the permit first.
Does that mean that the mill is not operational now?
No, it is operational, but at 800 tons a day.
Okay, so you can keep running at 800 tons. How long is it going to take to do the expansion once you get permitted?
Probably 5 months, 6 months.
Okay.
Because the plan, Paul, the plan is to, because the expansion is beside the existing mill.
Yes.
So what we can do is, let's see, once we get the permit for the tailings, the key is the tailings first.
Yep.
Because right now we're permitted in the tailings, we're permitted for 180,000 tons from the 2013 permit. Because there's two permits. You got the permit for the process flow rate, so how many tons a day, and you need a permit for how many total capacity can you have in your tailings. Okay, that permit will be like, with the 2,400 tons a day, we requested a capacity of 8 million tons storage capacity.
Okay.
And the 8 million tons is part of the same permit request. Right now, the tailings, it's the same tailings for the 8 million tons, except the old permit, the existing permit that we have right now at 800 tons a day, has a permitted capacity of 180,000 tons left. It was permitted for 1.5 million tons back in 2013.
Okay.
But we already filled the tailings by I think 1.4 million tons. So we have about just less than 200,000 tons capacity permitted. But if I had the money and the authorization, I could expand that same tailing up to 10 million tons.
Okay, which brings me to my next question. With all the companies that are around you, like in the area that you expect to do some milling for, when are you in negotiations with anybody, or when do you expect to start milling other people? I know you might not be able to answer some of the questions, but
no, I can't.
when do you expect to start processing somebody else's material? I guess that would be a fair question.
Okay, to process material from others, the other person has to demonstrate the ministry and us that their rock is not acid generating. So they're gonna have to do a full environmental impact study.
Okay.
Us, Bonterra, the 2,400 tons a day will give us permission to process material from other sites.
Your site?
No, well, if the other site is fully permitted too.
They have their full permits. Okay, I understand.
Yeah. So me, it's 2,400 tons a day, 8 million tons.
Okay.
Total capacity. That's the permit I'm going after. And then my neighbors, they're gonna have to do their own work. And if we do M&A or, then it will be Bonterra doing the legwork. But you saw there was a lot of deposit in the area that were orphaned. They don't have a mill.
Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to get out of you. There's a lot of money all around you. So when is that going to start going into your bank? The next question that I have is: are there any royalties on any of the properties that you have?
Yes, we do. There's little royalties like for example, Friend, which is just west of Bachelor. There's a royalty with a Cisco royalty, and Sandstorm. The biggest one is Sandstorm. Throughout from 2011 till 2019, we had a 20% stream with Sandstorm.
That's the old Metre deal, right?
Exactly, and that was amended in 2017. In the fall 2017, it was converted into a NSR, and there was some commitment to make. We completed those commitments in 2018-19. So now they have a 3.9% NSR at Mulroy and 3.9% NSR at Barrie. And then both NSR can be brought down to 1.8% if we give them 2 million for Barrie and 2 million for Mulroy.
Okay.
So our plan and the PBA, you're going to see it. We're going to disperse the $4 million, so we bring down the NSR to 1.8.
Okay. How much debt do you have?
Zero. All I have is payables.
Perfect.
So, and they're current, some suppliers 45 days, some are 30 days, some are immediately, So I have about $1 million in payables.
I got you. Because you have so many deposits that you're working on, and you have a very extensive drill program, do you really have any area of focus, or you just want to really size up the whole area?
Right now, this fall, when we approved the exploration budget in June, we didn't know if the federal were going to give us right now we had some commitment for December 31st, okay? But now the Canadian Revenue Agency extended the deadline for the flow-through expenditure. But at the time in June, we didn't know that they were going to expend it. So what we said is, because of all these M&A potential in the area, we said, let's put some resource finding deposit number 4. So we're allocating this fall, half of our drill budget is to find deposit number 4. So we have regional targets that we're going after. This winter, we're going to go back to we're still going to have some, right now it's 50-50 between expending the resource at the 3 projects and finding deposit number 4. This winter, we're going to go back to, probably 75-25, where we're going to be focusing more on our 3 projects. The one that is that's got the most traction is Gladiator because of the grade, and also it's open in every direction. So the focus will be on Gladiator.
Okay.
The reason we're drilling less this fall at Gladiator is just because of the geography. That's all. It's there's a lot of wetland north of Gladiator, and south of Gladiator is a lake. So so we have a drill on the barge. There's not that many drills on barge available in Quebec. So, and we have two of them, one at Barrie and one at Gladiator. So,
okay. One final question, really. Is COVID going to affect any of your drilling with the crews and everything, and you're drilling in the larger areas? Have you got it all organized that you have no COVID problems?
No, we have the protocol. We established all the protocols and the physical separation in the, let's say, the camps before the workers came back. We got the protocol approved by a health official first in June, and then we slowly brought up the crew back to the sites in July, and they all started with the introduction to the COVID protocol. It was a full day introduction, and like how they're supposed to behave in the kitchen, in the camp, the washroom, at the drill site. So that was all us. People wear masks or they don't work, so there's no debate.
Oh, that's perfect. That's what I wanted to know. Now, I guess that's about it. Could you just touch on today's press release?
Oh, today, yeah, it's, well, I'm not going to say it's project number 4, but it's very interesting. It was a claim that we acquired in 2019 from Mr. Boudreau. He's a prospector from Val d'Or. So he came to us, he offered us the property, we bought it. There was one showing that was already known, the Panache, but the geophysic told us there was something north. So we went to look at it, and we brought in a shovel that we own. So with our own operator, we opened up the outcrop, and there was the quartz vein. So we did some channel and grab sample, and now the next phase will be to go check what it looks like at depth. Well, at depth, we're gonna check below surface, like a few,
Exactly.
like maybe 100 meters, but we're gonna start small, see when it pans out. But the gold didn't come from the sky, so suspecting it's going to look good.
The 55,000 meter drill program, when is that going to end?
Christmas.
And then, so you should have drill results January, February, probably going into March almost.
Oh yeah. And between now and Christmas, like I got 7 drills running right now. Drill number 8 is just waiting for the drillers. So really, we're gonna have drill results between now and then. Like we have, I see results from Assay Lab every day.
Perfect. So to everyone out there, there's gonna be a lot of news coming. Please keep your eye on Bonterra, BTR on the Venture Exchange. Pascal, thank you very much for today. Merci beaucoup.
My pleasure, Paul. Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you.
Great presentation.
And thanks for everyone for attending. Thanks.